Here's the latest developments with the $100,000 God candle and nation states adopting Bitcoin and choosing to deal in Bitcoin, as well as the latest from the high priest, Max Keiser. Let's start right here. He says, he wrote this, I think this was yesterday, December 7th, 2 days ago at 10:32 a.m. Max Keiser wrote, Russia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Iran will start doing deals in Bitcoin. Qatar knows this and is pulling the trigger on a huge Bitcoin buy for their sovereign wealth fund. And this was on the back of this news. Iran's president arrives in Moscow, Russia, to meet Putin just one day after the Russian leader met Saudi leaders. Very interesting. Now check this out. Breaking news. Putin turns bullish on crypto. Russia introduces a cross-border payment using the Tether crypto stablecoin. Wow. People are looking forward to crypto, including in Russia. This is a pretty big deal. So maybe what Max is talking about makes a lot of sense. He says Russia, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Iran will all start doing deals in Bitcoin. So let's read some more. He initially sparked this conversation and controversy a few days ago on X. He wrote, the God candle, a $100,000 uptick in Bitcoin is in play. It will shift the global access of wealth in power in one single tick. And then he clarifies, I have one word for you, $100,000 Bitcoin. God candle fans. Qatar, let's freaking go. The rumors are getting very loud on this. Their sovereign wealth fund rumored to be looking to buy $500 billion worth of BTC. And their sovereign wealth fund allegedly already has $500 billion in it. So they're just looking to make a conversion. Here you can see the actual receipts of the president, the emir of Qatar, meeting up with President Bukele, and that was actually a few months back. Max even gave us an update right here. Check this out. December 6th, he wrote, to add clarity, here's what my source said. Bitcoin makes our $500 billion sovereign wealth fund effectively worthless. We should just convert it all into Bitcoin. I think that's a sage move. What are your thoughts, fam? And how do you think that would likely impact the Bitcoin price? Do you think we can see a Keiser candle of $100,000 on a single uptick as he's predicting? Please do let me know. And let's use our imagination now. Quentin, shout out to Quentin. I appreciate this post. It actually gets you thinking. Imagine this timeline with me, fam. Number one, January spot Bitcoin ETF pumps the price to 75,000 per coin, hitting a new all-time high. April, 3 months later, we have the Bitcoin halving in 2024, sending the Bitcoin price to 6 figures. And we're going to have a 100K fiesta here in Puerto Rico, so don't forget that part, okay? Now, Qatar buys Bitcoin then later, and it sends the price action to 150,000. Okay, being conservative. No 100,000 candle, but let's just say we got the 50,000 candle. Would you take it? Next up, the Fed lowers the rates and global liquidity rises hard and brings the price to 200,000 per coin. Next, 2 to 3 South American countries make Bitcoin a legal tender, sending the price another 50,000 north to 250,000 or $250,000 per coin. What are those 2 to 3 South American countries going to be? I'll throw some speculation out there. Could be Argentina. It could be Suriname, who's already talking about implementing 1% of their central bank reserves into Bitcoin. And then, of course, Argentina, we got Javier Milei, who preaches a big game, talking about being pro-Bitcoin and ending the central bank. So if these countries, I mean, there's also potential in Mexico. There's many other Latin American countries. There's South Africa or African countries. So Max also called this, I think, when he made his predictions end of last year, that we are going to see 3 more nations adopt Bitcoin as a legal tender. So we shall see. So let's do some guessing. What other major events can happen? I mean, this is the biggest catalyst clearly being the ETF and the halving, but nation state adoption is a pretty big deal as well. It's not going to get much more bullish than that. I mean, anything's possible. What are your thoughts, fam? And now shared here by the Bitcoin therapist, there is going to be a God candle. We don't know when it will happen. Normal people will be priced out. It'll be completely change the game. It'll completely change it. Bitcoin is going to rip a hole in the sky. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that sentiment. And I agree. Nobody knows exactly when it's going to happen, but at least we're creating the awareness so that you're prepared for when it comes, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? Also shared here, Max Keiser reports of rumors of Qatar's sovereign wealth fund has entered the Bitcoin market and could be interested in purchasing a small $500 billion buy worth of Bitcoin. If this happened, Bitcoin will go further than 150,000 per Bitcoin that I can tell you. BlackRock ETF and Qatar bid spotted Max's 500,000 per Bitcoin sooner than expected. Send it and let's freaking go. And here's a headline. Max Keiser predicts a Bitcoin God candle resulting in the $100,000 surge. Another one is a God candle to 100,000 possible for Bitcoin. What are your thoughts, fam? And here, Qatar's sovereign wealth fund is considering investing $500 billion into Bitcoin, converting their current existing 500 billion into the King crypto. So let me know your thoughts. I'm going to read a little bit more here. Also, we know Bitcoin is now up 20 million% since 2011. Let that sink in. That means for every dollar invested into Bitcoin in 2011, you're now up 20 million. So you run the math. What if you invested $1 million in Bitcoin back in 2011, which I would more than confidently bet that Max did? What do you think that is worth now? Run the math. What is 1 million, dollars times 20 million? Can someone run the math there? I know it's a big number. So many zeros, I can't do it in my head, but you guys let me know and I'll read those comments out loud here shortly. Max also shared here, Max's predictions we know grab attention. He's the high priest. He's the best. So here's what he wrote. 100,000 God candle is in play, which is a 100,000 uptick in the Bitcoin price. This will literally shock the world and the Bitcoin singularity will be upon us. He also tweeted, the Bitcoin price was lagging behind the rise in hash rate while competitor CZ and Binance was being targeted, then taken down at the behest of the large Wall Street players. I agree with that sentiment 100%. Seems crystal clear if you're to ask me. They targeted CZ and Binance to make way because this was a take over. Now check it out. The price rise is now catching up to the implied hash adjusted price, referring to the Bitcoin hash rate, which suggests that the Bitcoin price should be $375,000 per coin. Let me know if you agree with that or disagree. And I think 375,000, quite frankly, is a pretty solid target for this bull cycle coming up, especially if we hit a super cycle. I think we're going to blow past 100,000 like it ain't no thing, but let me know your thoughts. Other headlines here, just in, Max reports rumors that Qatar's sovereign wealth fund entering the Bitcoin market could be investing or interested in purchasing $500 billion worth of BTC. Now we all know as well, it would be very difficult for anyone to just purchase $500 billion worth of Bitcoin. I don't think that exists on the open market right now. They'd probably have to make some deals with the direct source and go directly to the miners. So who knows? But regardless, if they just pulled the trigger and made an announcement, that alone would pump the price up ridiculously, right? Now, clearly, they didn't make any announcement because they probably not in their best interest. I think the sovereign wealth fund rather buy Bitcoin at 40,000 than at 150,000, if you know what I mean. But what if? What if they're secretly buying behind the scenes right now in a way that's not infecting or impacting the Bitcoin price, and then we're told about it maybe in a few months, and then all of a sudden, skyrocket, God candle, new all-time high, Max's 375 target, Bitcoin catching up to the implied hash rate projected price. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts, fam? Let me know, and I'll read these comments out loud as we enter the Q&A session of the live show.